Every person walking this earth has a spark within them, a fire waiting to be ignited by purpose, yet most wander through life chasing distractions, chasing approval, chasing noise, forgetting that the real power is not found in what you do, but why you do it. Purpose is the heartbeat of greatness. It's what turns ordinary people into legends. It's what gives meaning to pain, direction to chaos, and courage to fear. Without purpose, even success feels empty. But with purpose, even the hardest days have meaning. There will come a time when life will test you, when everything feels uncertain, when the path ahead looks dark. In that moment, purpose becomes your compass. It reminds you who you are, why you started, and what you're fighting for. Purpose transforms weakness into strength, failure into lessons, and dreams into destiny. The world doesn't need more people chasing comfort. It needs people living with conviction. People who wake up every morning with fire in their eyes and vision in their hearts. Because when you live with purpose, you don't just exist, you create impact. You don't just survive, you awaken the very reason you were born. ChatGPT said, purpose gives direction when life feels uncertain, when everything around you begins to fall apart, when the plans you made crumble into dust, and when life seems to be pulling you into chaos. It is your purpose that steadies your heart. In moments when fear whispers that you're lost, that you're wasting time, that you failed too many times to ever rise again, purpose speaks louder. It tells you that even in the storm there is meaning. It reminds you that every challenge is not the end, but a call to realign, to dig deeper, to remember why you started. Purpose becomes the compass that guides you when you can't see the path ahead. It keeps your spirit anchored when uncertainty threatens to sweep you away, when the noise of doubt fills your mind, when others question your choices, and when progress feels invisible. It's purpose that keeps you moving. It is that inner conviction that says, I was made for more than this. You see, life is not supposed to be clear all the time. The uncertainty, the confusion, the waiting, they're all part of the process that shapes you. Purpose doesn't remove the storm, it gives you the strength to walk through it. It gives meaning to the pain and teaches you to find growth in discomfort. Because when you know your why, you can endure anyhow. There will be days when nothing seems to work, when you put in the effort and get nothing in return. There will be moments when you question your journey, when you look at others and wonder why their path seems easier, brighter, faster. In those moments, your purpose is your anchor. It pulls you back to what truly matters. It tells you to trust the process, to have faith that what you're doing has meaning beyond what you can see right now. Purpose gives you clarity when everything else feels blurry. It reminds you that the destination may not be visible yet, but the direction is still right. Uncertainty is not a sign of failure, it's a sign of movement. Every step into the unknown is a step toward discovery, and it's purpose that gives you the courage to take that step when the outcome is uncertain. Without purpose, fear wins. Without purpose, doubt becomes your master. But when you are driven by purpose, you stop waiting for perfect conditions. You start moving with conviction. Purpose turns hesitation into action. It tells you that even if the world doesn't believe in you yet, you must still believe in yourself. The truth is, clarity is born through movement, not waiting. You can't find your path by standing still. You discover it by walking, by trying, by failing, by learning, by trusting that each experience, good or bad, is shaping you into who you are meant to become. Purpose gives that movement direction. It's like the North Star in a dark sky. It doesn't eliminate the night, but it helps you find your way through it. And once you align yourself with your purpose, every choice, every challenge, every setback starts to make sense. You begin to see that even in uncertainty, there is a pattern, a rhythm, a deeper plan at work. Purpose isn't something you find once and forget. It's something you live every day. It's the reason you get up when you fall, the reason you try again when you fail, the reason you stay disciplined when no one is watching. It's not about knowing the entire map, it's about trusting the direction. Purpose turns fear into fuel. It teaches you to see uncertainty not as danger, but as opportunity, because every uncertain moment is a doorway to growth, and only those who walk through it with purpose discover who they really are. So when life becomes unpredictable, when the ground beneath you shakes, when nothing seems to make sense, remember that purpose is not found in clarity, it's found in persistence. It's what keeps you moving when logic says stop. It's what gives your struggle meaning, your pain direction, and your dreams power. Purpose is what separates those who drift from those who lead, those who merely survive from those who truly live. It is not about what you do when things are easy. It's about who you become when everything feels uncertain. Without purpose, success feels empty and meaningless. You can achieve everything the world tells you to chase. Money, recognition, fame, power. But if it isn't connected to something deeper, something that stirs your soul, it will never fill the emptiness inside. There comes a moment in life when you realize that success without fulfillment is the greatest failure of all. You can climb every mountain, but if it's the wrong one, you'll stand at the top feeling lost. You can win the applause of millions, but if you've lost yourself in the process, the noise of their cheers will only echo your silence. Purpose gives your success depth. It's what transforms achievement from vanity into legacy. It's the difference between living for applause and living for impact. People chase success because they believe it will bring happiness. They believe the next promotion, the next car, the next house will finally make them feel whole. But the truth is, success without purpose is like drinking salt water. It might satisfy your thirst for a moment, but it only leaves you craving more. You keep achieving, you keep running, yet the emptiness never fades, because success that isn't tied to purpose becomes a never-ending chase for validation. It's not real fulfillment. It's temporary satisfaction dressed as progress. Purpose changes the meaning of success. It redefines what winning looks like. When you live with purpose, success is no longer about what you have, it's about what you give. It's no longer about how far you go, but about how many lives you touch along the way. Purpose turns your journey into something greater than yourself. It's not about competing, it's about contributing. It's not about the spotlight, it's about service. And that shift from achievement to alignment is what gives success true meaning. You can always tell when someone's success is driven by purpose. There's a different kind of energy in them. They don't chase opportunities, they create them. They don't work for validation, they work for vision. They don't need to prove anything because their actions come from conviction, not comparison. Success built on purpose doesn't crumble under pressure because it's rooted in meaning, not ego. Purpose gives your dreams a backbone. It keeps you grounded when success tries to inflate your pride and humble when life brings you to your knees. There are people who have everything but feel like they have nothing, and there are others who have little yet live with peace and power. The difference isn't wealth, it's purpose. Because purpose gives life a richness that money can't buy. It gives your actions meaning, your days direction, and your achievement soul. Without purpose, success becomes hollow, a shiny shell with nothing inside. You may impress the world, but deep down, you know something's missing. That's because true fulfillment comes not from accumulation, but from alignment. When your actions align with your purpose, every victory feels alive, every step feels right, and even the struggle feels sacred. The world often tells you that success means reaching the top, but what's the point of reaching the top if it costs you your peace, your relationships, your integrity? Real success is not about climbing higher, it's about growing deeper. It's about knowing that what you're doing matters, that your effort contributes to something bigger than yourself. Purpose gives your life coherence. It connects your daily grind to a greater vision. Without it, even your biggest achievements feel random, disconnected, and fleeting. When you live without purpose, you're constantly searching for meaning in things that can't give it to you. You attach your worth to achievements, your happiness to outcomes, your identity to titles. And the moment those things change, you lose yourself. But when you live with purpose, your identity doesn't depend on circumstances. It comes from within. It's steady, unshaken by wins or losses, praise or criticism. Purpose gives you freedom from the illusion that success will complete you. It reminds you that success doesn't define your purpose. Your purpose defines your success. Without purpose, even the sweetest victory feels hollow. You'll celebrate for a moment, but the satisfaction fades, replaced by the same question that keeps echoing inside, what now? Because when your life is not anchored in purpose, every milestone becomes just another finish line that leads to another race. But when purpose drives you, success isn't a finish line. It's a reflection of your growth, a byproduct of living true to what you were meant to do. You no longer chase success. You attract it. Because everything you do comes from authenticity, not ambition alone. Purpose fills the void that success alone can't touch. It's what turns achievements into fulfillment, motion into meaning, and effort into impact. You can live your whole life chasing the world's definition of success and still feel lost, or you can live with purpose and find meaning even in the smallest victories, because purpose gives your story depth, your actions value, and your life a reason that goes beyond yourself. Purpose transforms pain into strength and failure into growth. Every struggle, every heartbreak, every disappointment carries within it a lesson meant to shape you, not break you. Life has a way of testing those who dare to dream, who dare to rise, who dare to chase something bigger than themselves. Pain is not punishment, it's preparation. It's the universe refining your spirit, stretching your limits, and revealing what you're truly capable of. Purpose gives that pain meaning. It takes what was meant to destroy you and turns it into the foundation of your power. When you understand your purpose, you stop asking, why is this happening to me? And start asking, what is this teaching me? Pain has a strange way of becoming the birthplace of strength. The moments that hurt you the most are often the ones that build the greatest version of you. You may not see it while you're in the middle of the storm, but every tear, every failure, every silent night when you felt like giving up was forging resilience inside you. Purpose gives you the ability to endure those moments without losing hope. It whispers that there's something greater on the other side of your struggle, something that your pain is preparing you for. It gives you perspective, the kind that turns suffering into strength and loss into wisdom. Failure is not the opposite of success, it's the path to it. Every person who has ever achieved something extraordinary has walked through failure, disappointment, and rejection. The difference is they didn't allow failure to define them, they used it as fuel. Purpose transforms how you see failure. Instead of seeing it as a dead end, you begin to see it as a detour, a necessary turn that leads to growth, discipline, and depth. Every failure becomes a message, a reminder that growth doesn't come from comfort, it comes from persistence, from the courage to keep going when you've fallen again and again. Purpose teaches you that each setback carries a seed of transformation if you're willing to learn from it when you have a clear purpose. Pain doesn't paralyze you, it strengthens your resolve. You start to realize that what you once called failure was actually feedback, a signal pointing you toward a better way. You stop running from discomfort because you understand that growth lives inside it. Purpose gives your suffering context, it connects your struggles to your story, showing you that nothing is wasted, that even your darkest moments are part of the process that shapes you into who you need to become. There will be times when life will break you open, when everything you built seems to fall apart, when you question your strength and doubt your worth. Those are the moments when purpose becomes your anchor. It reminds you that this pain is not the end. It's the beginning of your evolution. The fire that burns you also forges you. The weight that crushes you also strengthens you. The pain you feel today becomes the power you carry tomorrow. Purpose turns your wounds into wisdom and your scars into stories that inspire others to rise. You can't grow without friction. You can't develop strength without resistance. The challenges you face are not barriers, they are building blocks. Every obstacle is an opportunity to rise higher, to sharpen your focus, to prove to yourself that you are more than your circumstances. Purpose allows you to see your struggles as sacred. It shifts your mindset from victimhood to victory, from asking why me to declaring try me. It's what allows you to stand tall in the face of adversity, to keep walking when others stop, and to believe that your pain has a purpose even when you can't see it yet. There's a hidden power in every fall, a lesson in every failure, and a breakthrough in every breakdown. But only those with purpose can recognize it. Without purpose, pain feels random. It feels cruel, meaningless, unbearable. But with purpose, pain becomes a teacher. It refines your focus, tests your faith, and builds your resilience. It's not there to destroy. It's there to prepare you for the strength you ask for. Every time life pushes you to your knees, it's giving you a chance to rise higher than before. Purpose transforms your relationship with failure. You no longer see it as proof that you're not enough. You see it as evidence that you're trying, growing, and evolving. You stop fearing failure because you realize that each one carries a gift. It teaches humility, patience, and perseverance. It humbles your ego but strengthens your soul. It strips away what's false and reveals what's real. With purpose, failure becomes part of your foundation, not the end of your story. Pain and failure are not the enemies. They're the sculptors. They carve away the parts of you that no longer serve your growth and reveal the strength that was always within. Purpose gives you the courage to face them head on, to embrace them as essential steps in your evolution. Because without pain, you wouldn't know your strength. Without failure, you wouldn't know your capacity to rise. Purpose is what transforms suffering into strength and setbacks into stepping stones, turning every wound into a sign that you were strong enough to survive and wise enough to learn. Living with purpose turns ordinary people into legends. It's not talent alone, not luck, not privilege that creates greatness. It's a deep, unshakable sense of purpose that drives people to do what others think is impossible. Purpose gives an ordinary life extraordinary meaning. It transforms everyday actions into something powerful, something lasting. The people who leave their mark on this world are not always the ones born with advantages. They are the ones who decided to live with intention, who chose to attach meaning to everything they do. Purpose turns struggle into legacy. It turns effort into excellence. It turns moments into movements. When you live with purpose, your life stops being random. You no longer drift from day to day waiting for things to happen. You start creating them. You begin to move with conviction, not confusion. You walk with direction, not distraction. Every step, every decision, Every failure becomes part of something greater. Purpose gives your life structure. It tells you where to aim your energy and how to use your time. It teaches you discipline because you understand that every action counts. Every choice either brings you closer to your mission or pulls you away from it. Purpose becomes the invisible force that guides your behavior, fuels your persistence, and shapes your destiny. The difference between ordinary and legendary isn't ability, it's alignment. It's being aligned with a cause, a dream, a reason bigger than yourself. When your actions are fueled by purpose, you tap into a source of energy that doesn't burn out. You don't rely on motivation, you move from devotion. You no longer need to be pushed, you're pulled by vision. You begin to operate on a different frequency, one where excuses fade and execution takes over. You no longer wait for inspiration, you become it. Living with purpose transforms how you see obstacles are not roadblocks, they're refining fires that shape your greatness. Every person who ever changed the world started as someone ordinary. They faced fear, doubt, and limitations just like everyone else. But what set them apart was purpose. The inner fire that refused to die. They were willing to sacrifice comfort for cause, ease for excellence, approval for authenticity. Purpose gave them courage when fear tried to silence them. It gave them resilience when failure tried to stop them. It gave them clarity when the world tried to confuse them. Living with purpose doesn't mean life becomes easy. It means you finally know what's worth fighting for. You don't need fame to be legendary. You don't need applause or recognition. You become legendary. The moment you decide to live with purpose, the moment you dedicate your actions to something meaningful, legends are not remembered for what they had. They're remembered for what they gave. They're remembered for the difference they made, for the hearts they touched, for the lives they changed. Purpose gives you that kind of power, the power to matter, to contribute, to create impact that echoes long after you're gone. It transforms your existence from survival to significance. When you live with purpose, time feels different. You stop wasting it on things that don't align with your vision. You stop living for the weekend, for validation, for approval. You start living for the mission. You become intentional about your energy, your company, your habits. You begin to protect your peace because you know your purpose demands focus. You rise before the world does because your purpose won't let you sleep on your potential. You push through pain because your purpose reminds you that temporary discomfort is a small price for lasting impact. You start thinking long term, building legacies instead of moments, creating ripples instead of noise. Ordinary people become legends because they decide to serve something greater than themselves. They channel their pain into passion, their doubts into discipline, their failures into fire. They stop asking, what can I get? And start asking, what can I give? That shift changes everything. Purpose transforms ambition into service, and service is what immortality is built on. When you live for something beyond yourself, your life begins to inspire others to do the same. You become proof that one person's commitment can ignite change, that one voice can spark hope, that one act of purpose can transform countless lives. Living with purpose gives your journey a heartbeat. It gives your work meaning, your actions integrity, and your challenges value. It teaches you to rise each morning with intention, to use each day as a page in a story worth telling. Purpose makes your effort sacred. It's what drives you to keep going when no one's watching, to stay true when shortcuts tempt you, to push boundaries when mediocrity feels safe. It's what separates dreamers from doers and talkers from transformers. When you live with purpose, you no longer chase greatness, you embody it. You no longer wait for inspiration, you become the example that others draw strength from. Every legend you know started as a person who simply refused to live without purpose. They faced the same world, the same fears, the same doubts, but they made a choice to live intentionally, to lead with meaning, to give their life to something that would outlive them. And that choice is what turned their ordinary existence into something unforgettable. Living with purpose doesn't require perfection. It requires passion. It requires the courage to say, I will not waste this life. It requires the strength to stand firm when others quit, to believe when others doubt, to persist when others settle. That's how purpose turns ordinary people into legends. Purpose fuels courage, discipline, and consistency. When life tests your strength and everything feels uncertain, purpose becomes the inner fire that refuses to go out. It's the quiet force that keeps you moving forward when the world tells you to stop. Courage doesn't come from the absence of fear, it comes from the presence of purpose. When you have a reason strong enough, fear loses its grip. You no longer move because you feel confident, you move because your mission demands it. Purpose transforms hesitation into action, doubt into faith, and resistance into progress. It becomes the voice inside you that says, keep going, Even when the road is long, lonely, and dark, every person who has ever achieved something meaningful has faced fear, failure, and fatigue. The difference is that their purpose pushed them past the breaking point. When you live with purpose, you stop negotiating with your excuses. You stop waiting for the perfect moment. You stop letting emotions decide your effort. Discipline becomes natural because you understand that purpose is greater than comfort. You do what needs to be done, not because you always want to, but because you must. Purpose gives your actions weight. It makes your work sacred, your time valuable, and your sacrifices worthwhile. It turns discipline from a burden into a privilege, because every act of consistency brings you closer to the reason you started. Courage without purpose fades when things get hard. Discipline without purpose becomes punishment. Consistency without purpose feels empty, but when all three are fueled by purpose, they become unstoppable. Purpose gives courage direction. It tells you what to stand for and what to fight for. It gives discipline meaning. It reminds you why you can't quit. It gives consistency strength. It keeps you grounded when motivation runs out. Purpose doesn't eliminate fear. It teaches you how to move through it. It doesn't make hard work easier. It makes it matter. It doesn't make the journey shorter. It makes every step significant. Discipline is not about perfection. It's about devotion. It's about showing up day after day because you're committed to something that means more than your comfort. Purpose gives you that devotion. It teaches you that progress is built in the small, quiet moments when no one's watching. It's built in the early mornings when you rise before the world does, in the late nights when you push through exhaustion, in the sacrifices that no one will ever see or applaud. Purpose gives those moments meaning. It tells you that every repetition, every sacrifice, every moment of resistance is shaping you into someone unbreakable. It's not about doing it for results. It's about doing it because you were born for it. Courage doesn't mean you don't feel fear. It means you act anyway. Purpose gives you that reason to act. It reminds you that the dream inside you is bigger than the fear around you. You stop asking, what if I fail? And start asking, what if I don't try? Purpose shifts your focus from fear to faith. It gives you something worth risking for, something worth enduring for. You no longer live just to survive. You live to fulfill something greater. And when your why is strong enough, no challenge is big enough to stop you. Consistency is the bridge between dreams and results. It's what turns potential into power. But consistency doesn't come from excitement. It comes from commitment, and commitment comes from purpose. When you're clear about your purpose, you stop chasing motivation. You stop waiting to feel ready. You simply show up because you know your actions are aligned with something meaningful. You understand that greatness is not built in bursts of effort, but in daily dedication. You stop giving up when progress feels slow because you know that consistency compounds. It builds strength, resilience, and mastery over time. Purpose makes you unstoppable because it makes you unshakable. It reminds you that every time you show up, even when it's hard, you're building something that matters. It gives you courage to take the first step and discipline to keep taking the next. It becomes your armor when life throws challenges your way. It's the voice that says, keep showing up when you're tired, stay focused when you're distracted, and remember why you started when you're tempted to quit. Purpose is what keeps your heart steady and your mind sharp when everything else around you feels uncertain. When you live with purpose, discipline stops feeling like sacrifice. It becomes an act of self-respect. You begin to see every small effort as a declaration of who you are becoming. Every day you stay consistent. You prove to yourself that you are stronger than your excuses. Every time you face fear with courage, you remind yourself that your purpose is worth more than your comfort. Every choice rooted in purpose reinforces your power. You start to live differently. You act with intention, you speak with conviction, you work with passion. Purpose is what turns courage into movement, discipline into mastery, and consistency into transformation. It's the reason some people keep rising when others stop. It's the reason they keep believing when everything around them says quit. Because once you've found something you're willing to fight for, something that ignites your soul, you stop letting fear, fatigue, or failure control your path. Purpose doesn't just give you direction, it gives you drive. It makes you bold enough to begin, disciplined enough to persist, and consistent enough to finish what you started. The world needs people driven by conviction, not comfort. Comfort is easy, it's predictable, it's safe, it's familiar, but it never leads to growth. Conviction, on the other hand, is uncomfortable. It demands sacrifice, courage, and persistence when the world tries to pull you back into mediocrity. The people who change the world are not those who chase comfort. They are the ones who stand firm in their convictions when everything around them shakes. They move not because the path is easy, but because their purpose leaves them no choice. Conviction gives life intensity. It fills your actions with power. When you live with conviction, you don't follow trends, you follow truth. You don't bend to fear, you rise through it. You don't wait for opportunities, you create them. Comfort will tell you to stay where you are. Conviction will tell you to rise higher. Comfort whispers that it's okay to play small, that it's safer not to try, that it's better not to risk failure. Conviction reminds you that you were not born to stay in the same place forever. It pushes you to evolve, to stretch, to break through the limits that comfort built around you. Comfort wants you to live quietly. Conviction demands that you live intentionally. It refuses to let you waste your potential, to settle for less than what you are capable of. Conviction is the fire that keeps burning when the applause stops, when the motivation fades, and when the results are still far away. People who live by conviction are not controlled by circumstances. They are guided by principles. They don't let the world dictate who they should be or what they should do. They have a standard, a set of values that they refuse to compromise. Conviction gives you that strength. It allows you to walk alone if you have to keep moving forward even when no one believes in you. It gives you the courage to say no when comfort tempts you with ease and distraction. Conviction makes your purpose non-negotiable. It transforms desire into duty, passion into persistence, and intention into impact. Comfort never asks you to grow, it never asks you to change. It only asks you to stay the same, to avoid discomfort, to choose what's easy over what's right. But nothing great has ever been built from comfort. Growth is born from struggle, clarity from confusion, strength from resistance. Conviction is what allows you to embrace that process instead of avoiding it. It gives you the mindset to see challenges as part of your mission, rather than obstacles in your way. It teaches you that the pain of discipline is temporary, but the regret of comfort lasts forever. When you live with conviction, you stop waiting for external validation. You stop seeking permission to live your truth. Conviction gives you the authority to act on your beliefs, to trust your inner voice even when it goes against the crowd. It turns you into a force of influence because people feel the weight of authenticity in your words and actions. Conviction cannot be faked. It's born from integrity, from consistency, from living aligned with your purpose. The world may resist it at first, but ultimately it respects it because deep down everyone recognizes the rare strength of a person who stands for something real in a world full of imitation. Comfort might give you temporary pleasure, but conviction gives you lasting peace when you live by conviction. Your choices feel right, your actions feel aligned, and your soul feels alive. You may not have the easiest path, but you'll have the truest one. Conviction helps you sleep at night knowing you didn't betray your values, that you didn't trade your truth for convenience. It gives you the strength to say, I will not lower my standards for acceptance. I will not silence my voice for approval. I will not abandon my path for comfort. That is the mindset that builds leaders, creators, and change makers. Conviction doesn't mean stubbornness. It means clarity. It means knowing what matters most and refusing to compromise it no matter the pressure. It means standing tall when others bow, speaking truth when others stay silent, and continuing forward when others give up. Conviction isn't about arrogance. It's about alignment. It's about acting from a deep understanding of who you are and why you're here. It's about moving with intention rather than reaction, leading with vision rather than fear. Comfort feels good in the moment, but kills potential over time. Conviction feels heavy at first, but leads to freedom. It liberates you from the chains of other people's opinions, from the fear of failure, from the illusion of safety. When you live by conviction, you stop being swayed by every wave of uncertainty because you are anchored in purpose. You know what you stand for, and that gives you stability no comfort zone can provide. Conviction builds character. It sharpens your will, strengthens your resolve, and teaches you to lead with heart instead of hesitation. The world doesn't remember the comfortable. It remembers the courageous. It remembers those who stood by their convictions when it wasn't popular, when it wasn't easy, when it came at a cost. History honors those who refused to stay silent, who took risks, who lived with passion and purpose instead of convenience. The world changes because of people who dared to live by what they believe, who chose the harder road because it was the right one. Conviction creates legacy. It turns ordinary people into examples, into inspiration, into proof that living for comfort will keep you safe, but living with conviction will make you unforgettable. Purpose awakens the reason you were born. It's the quiet truth that lives inside every soul, waiting for the moment you stop running from yourself and start listening. Deep down, you've always known there's something you're meant to do, something that only you can give, something that would make your existence matter. Most people spend their entire lives searching for happiness without realizing that happiness is a byproduct of purpose. When you awaken to your purpose, everything begins to shift. The noise of the world starts to fade. The opinions of others lose their power. You begin to see with clarity that life isn't about existing. It's about becoming who you were meant to be. Purpose is not found in the outside world. It's discovered within. It's not something you stumble upon. It's something you remember. You've always had it inside you, buried under fear, doubt, and expectation. The world teaches you to chase status, comfort, and validation, but purpose calls you inward. It whispers through your passions, your pain, your dreams, and even your failures. It shows up in the moments that move you deeply, in the causes that stir your heart, in the experiences that break you open. When you start to pay attention, you realize that your purpose has been speaking to you all along. You just needed to listen. Awakening to purpose is like waking up from a long sleep. Suddenly, the things that once distracted you lose their pull. You start questioning everything you were told about success, about worth, about happiness. You stop living on autopilot and begin living with awareness. Every day starts to feel different because you finally understand that you're not here by accident. You were designed for something specific, something meaningful. Purpose gives your life a pulse. It gives direction to your energy and depth to your existence. It turns your ordinary days into chapters of a story that actually means something. When purpose awakens inside you, fear doesn't disappear, but it loses control. You start to move through fear instead of being controlled by it. You realize that purpose and fear can coexist, but only one can lead. You begin to trust your inner calling more than your outer circumstances. You start to take risks that align with your truth. You say yes to opportunities that scare you but excite you. You say no to distractions that keep you small. Purpose gives you clarity. It helps you separate what's essential from what's noise. It aligns your actions with your truth and your vision with your soul. The awakening doesn't happen all at once. It unfolds slowly through experiences that challenge you, through moments that break your heart, through quiet reflections when you realize you're meant for more. Sometimes it comes through pain, a loss, a failure, a disappointment that shakes you awake. Other times it comes through peace, a moment of stillness when you finally hear your own voice. Purpose reveals itself when you start asking deeper questions. Who am I? What am I here to give? What legacy do I want to leave? The answers don't come from logic. They come from listening to what makes you feel alive. When you live without purpose, life feels heavy. Every day feels like a repeat of the last. You work, you survive, you achieve, but something always feels missing. That missing piece is meaning. Purpose fills that void. It gives you a reason to rise, a reason to endure, a reason to believe. It reminds you that your life has value not because of what you own, but because of what you create, how you love, and who you become. Purpose gives your struggles meaning. It turns pain into preparation and waiting into growth. It transforms ordinary existence into extraordinary experience. Awakening to your purpose also awakens your power. It makes you realize that you don't need to wait for permission to begin. You don't need to have everything figured out. You just need to take the first step toward what feels true. Purpose gives you strength to keep going even when you can't see the finish line. It reminds you that fulfillment doesn't come from doing more. It comes from doing what matters. It pushes you to use your gifts, to share your story, to contribute something real. You stop measuring your worth by comparison and start measuring it by contribution. The moment you align with your purpose, everything changes. Not because life gets easier, but because life finally makes sense. Challenges no longer feel meaningless, they become part of the mission. Setbacks no longer discourage you, they refine your focus. You start to see how every piece of your journey, even the painful ones, fits together. You begin to live with intention instead of impulse. You no longer chase recognition, you chase alignment. You no longer need approval, you need authenticity. Purpose becomes the foundation upon which you build your life, your work, your relationships, your identity. When you live with purpose, you radiate a different kind of energy. People can feel it in your presence, in your words, in your actions. You inspire without trying because your life itself becomes a message. You become a mirror that reflects possibility to others. Purpose gives you the power to impact lives without even realizing it. You don't have to be famous to change the world. You just have to live in alignment with the reason you were born. That's where true influence begins. That's where fulfillment lives. Because once purpose awakens within you, you stop asking what life can give you and start asking what life can give through you.